This is Sober Readings, a special guest reader episode. I'm Scott, and today I'd like to introduce my friend Shaun. Shaun has long-term sobriety. We both go to the same local men's meetings. He's always got great stuff to share in the meetings. Today he chose a passage from page 164 on the Big Book. It's only a few paragraphs long, but there's a lot of good stuff in it. As they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, it only takes two people to have a meeting. So, without further ado, here's my meeting with Shaun. Recording in progress.
Yes, sir.
All right. So, what page from the Big Book are we reading from?
164, the second and third paragraphs. Actually, we'll throw the fourth paragraph in there as well.
All right. So, our reading this morning is on page 164 of the Big Book. Take it away, Shaun.
Still you may say, but I will not have the benefit of contact with you who write this book. We cannot be sure. God will determine that. So you must remember that your real reliance is always upon Him. He will show you how to create the fellowship you crave. Our book is meant to be suggestive only. We realize we know only a little. God will consistently disclose more to you and to us. Ask Him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. The answers will come if your own house is in order. But obviously, you cannot transmit something you haven't got. See to it that see to it that your relationship with Him is right, and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. This is the great fact for us. Abandon yourself to God as you understand God. Admit your faults to Him and to your fellows. Clear away the wreckage of your past. Give freely of what you find and join us. We shall be with you in the fellowship of the Spirit, and you will surely meet some of us as you trudge the road of happy destiny. May God bless you and keep you until then.
Beautiful. And that's from the chapter titled A Vision for You
Yes.
in the Big Book. So tell me what that reading means to you and why you chose it.
Well, I think it sums up, at least for me, my program in a lot of ways. I mean, I mentioned to you guys up at the meetings that I commute for meetings. And that's not to say there aren't meetings down in my area, but the fellowship I crave is up in the Saugerties, Woodstock, Kingston area. My sponsor lives up there. My sponsee lives up there. People I've known since day one live up there, and that's just where I'm the most comfortable. So that create the fellowship you crave piece, that's a big one for me. Also, in that last paragraph, right up until that last individual sentence, it just sums up the steps in a very simple way that, like, at least to me, when a newcomer reads that, he could read that, and that could be the steps in a more digestible form. That's something I've always seen that passage as.
So were you this passage in this program really talks a lot.
Mm-hmm.
This passage specifically talks a lot about God. Have you always
Yes.
been a religious or spiritual person?
Never really been religious per se. I've always had a belief that there is a God, but when I came into the program, I stopped being angry at God, if that makes sense. I was angry at God for my upbringing, angry at God for the lack of sanity in my life up until then. When I realized that I wasn't accepting God into my life when I went through the steps the first time, and I have to learn to forgive a lot of that stuff I was angry about to have a clear communication with my higher power.
Yeah. So this reading that you picked, this first paragraph, the second sentence is, "We realize we know only a little. God will constantly disclose more to you and to us." So that suggests humility,
Mm-hmm.
to tell myself or to accept that I know little, you know. Talk about humility and how the program has helped you with that.
Well, I've had many big and little exercises in it all throughout my knock on wood close to 19 years. Humility in little ways, like obeying the law when I could easily get away with something. Humility and doing a step 10 with my 6-year-old when I get a little out of line with her, when I get a little harsh when it's not warranted. Humility and humble acts of service, whether it's being a sponsor, whether it's sticking my hand out to the newcomer when in reality one of my worst character defects is isolation. I don't want to talk to people. That's my reflex. I don't want to stick my hand out to a stranger. I've never been good at that. I'm still not good at that. But a big act of humility and service for me is sticking my hand out to guys that are sitting there twitching, just coming in, still fresh off a drink or a drug, that's a big one for me because without that, I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah. I was at a meeting last night, the men's meeting in at the Ryan House, and Mark spoke last night.
Hmm.
And the topic after he spoke was spirituality, in the program, something similar to that. And talk about your spiritual program now, like because this reading that you chose, these couple paragraphs, they talk about ask him in your morning meditation what you can do each day for the man who is still sick. Talk about your spiritual program now.
Okay, well, spiritually, I talk to God like he's a friend. Like my concept is he. That's just what rattles around in my brain. I talk to God like he's a friend that can help me out. I don't have really a religious structured way of praying or meditating. I really never have because I just have trouble sitting still like that. When I pray, the way I was taught the first time I went through the steps is it's an open communication. I was taught never to say amen because every word I say is to my higher power. And that's a big one for me, knowing that anytime I could say, hey, help, without like any sort of, I don't know the word I'm looking for, any sort of regimented type thing.
Yeah.
As far as meditation is concerned, shutting my brain off has never been easy, both before recovery and in recovery. I'm always going 1,000 miles a minute, despite how I may sit still and be quiet sometimes. A big meditation for me is art, music. I listen to music and just get lost in it. And the moods that inspires, whether they be introspective, whether they be of servitude, whether they be of just forgetting about my own shit for a while. Like I've told you that my drive up to the meetings, whether it be at the Ryan House or Blue Mountain or Woodstock Men's, is about an hour and change. And I'll listen to music on the way. I hate when people call me in the car. I hate it. Like half the time I won't even answer because that's my meditation time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. And I can relate to that. You talked about spirituality and prayer and meditation not being like regimented. And I told
Mm-hmm.
myself for so long that, man, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know how to do this. And I forgot to pray this morning. I didn't get on my
Mm-hmm.
knees. But you're right. It's like, it doesn't, it shouldn't be, well, I have to do this at a certain point of the
Yeah.
day on my knees in this location. I've learned that you're right. I can pray whenever I want through the day. And I like the way you said that you don't have to say amen at the end because you're always talking to him, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I've really incorporated that into my day, and it's like it's really made a difference in my sobriety.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what you said about meditation, about I've always struggled with meditation also. Uh, but I've also listened to a lot of podcasts, a lot of people that know a lot about meditation, including my sponsor. And
Mm-hmm.
what I've learned is that all those thoughts coming in and out of my head, obviously that's normal,
Mm-hmm.
It's not about stopping all those thoughts in my head. It's about understanding that it's about accepting them. Those
Mm-hmm.
thoughts are gonna come, and that's okay. Um, and it's something that we talk about in the program too, is that thoughts are gonna come. I don't have to act on them. They're just
Mm-hmm.
thoughts. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what I try to do in my meditation is that just realize that yeah, these thoughts are going to come in, and then take a breath, and through my breath realize that they're just thoughts and they're going to go away, and bring it back
Mm-hmm.
to my breath. So that's
Mm-hmm.
been a learning curve for me too.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
still remember, like I had what I didn't even realize was an intrusive thought. Like a lot of alcoholics have trouble. I've heard it in the rooms for years. A lot of alcoholics have trouble around the holidays. I never really did. I didn't need an occasion to drink or drug. It's Tuesday and it's raining. Fuck you. I'm going to drink and drug.
yeah,
But St. Patrick's Day with my Irish Scottish ancestry was always kind of a party day for me. And I remember calling my current sponsor, and you'll know who it is when I tell you what his exact response was. I tell him, is it weird that I still remember how Guinness tastes at the time, almost 17 years later? And his exact words were, "You have a reservation you didn't know you had, motherfucker."
yeah, yeah, that's true. Um, so another line in here is admit your faults to him and to your fellows. Did you ever struggle with that? Maybe not so
Oh
much
yeah.
to admitting your faults to God, but admitting my faults to another man?
At first, yes. between my upbringing, where I was told, I mean, I won't go into that because that's for another fellowship, but the summary of it is I was told, stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. That's what I grew up hearing.
Yeah.
And you and I can both identify with the bravado and the male oof that comes with being in the military. Don't talk about it, just stuff it, you know?
Right.
So yeah, I had trouble with that at first, but fast forward, I don't know if you were in the meeting or not, but I was able to stand up on the podium at Prodigal Sons and break down in tears about my 9 pound dog dying a couple of years back. I mean, that was a 180 for me, going in front of a bunch of roughnecks and construction workers and a bunch of guys that don't want to be there from Able House saying, "Hey, listen, this little frou frou dog was my best friend and she died," and I'm crying. Just there's that, and I just recently did a pretty hardcore step 5 with my sponsor. My sponsor is a retired iron worker. He's a pretty hardcore dude, and he listened, and he talked about some of his own stuff, and it was just two men sharing things, and that even this far in, that's still new to me. You know?
It doesn't seem normal, right? It doesn't
No, it definitely doesn't.
it's not natural for me anyway, you know?
No, same.
Yeah. So, this other line, see to it that your relationship with him is right and great events will come to pass for you and countless others. Talk about that.
I can't always say my relationship is right with God. I still take my will back. That's why I'm struggling with smoking cigarettes. You know, I had the habit beat for 4 years and I got complacent, got some bad news. My temper got the better of me. I took my will back, and now I'm struggling with a habit again. Um, but when I get into those places, that open dialogue really helps. You know, just saying, "Listen, I can't handle this," or "I'm having trouble," or "I'm struggling." Knowing that nothing happens in God's world by mistake, even the negative things, helps me get through it. You
Yeah.
know, everything is part of a greater plan, even if it's some discomfort for me at the time. You know.
Yeah. Do you think it has to do with anything? Do you think it has anything to do with humility? You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
and great events will come to pass for you and for countless others. So basically, me giving up my will to God, basically saying, asking for help, that's a humble act, and I
Yeah.
find that if I practice that principle in all my other affairs, like, try to stay humble throughout the day,
Mm.
things just happen, like good things happen, to me
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
people around me.
Not always easy for me because I'm an arrogant prick at times. I really am. Like, look at me. I'm quote unquote an old timer, or look at me. I'm able to be a full time dad when not a lot of other dads are. Or, look at me. Look what I'm doing here or there, whatever. Arrogance is a big time character defect, but the difference is that arrogance doesn't possess me anymore because I have the steps in my life.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting that what's your sobriety is you said you're almost 19 years?
August 2nd of 2006 is my date.
Man, that's impressive,
Thank you.
But at the same time, I think it's important for people to know that no matter what your sobriety time is, no matter how much clean and sober time you have, these intrusive thoughts are always
Oh yeah.
there, right?
Oh yeah. I
Like,
can't. I won't even go into some of the intrusive thoughts that hit me on occasion, but it's some really sick shit. It really is.
yeah,
But one thing that I mean, I had the same sponsor for a good portion of my early recovery. I took a hiatus from the rooms that I'm open about. I was out of the rooms for like 4 years, just doing it dry and white knuckling it. When I came back in, I picked up my current sponsor, and one thing that he's big on is every day is day one, regardless of how much time you have. I could I could be up on the top of like he says it. I could be looking up on the top of Catskill Falls one day, and the next day I could be in jail or worse. You know, my first sponsor and I were talking yesterday, and I said the same thing to him. Like yesterday, today is day one. Tomorrow I could be in the ground. You know, if I'm not diligent, if I don't maintain my spirituality.
right. Yep. Um, well, do you have anything else before we close this out?
No, sir. This was actually much needed, man. Like I said, nothing happens in God's world by mistake.
Yes, sir. That was fun. Thank you for coming on and
Of course,
taking a reading
anytime.
and talking about it. And we'll have to do this again sometime, man.
Absolutely, I'm in. Just say that. Name your time.
Great. Thanks, Sean. I appreciate
Thanks,
it and have
Scott.
a great day.
You too.